Secret of the Silver Key, written by Phyllis J. Perry. Welcome back, warrior friends, to our 10th chapter, the final chapter, Secret of the Silver Key. Fribble was a good math student, and he did some quick calculating on how much money he had to spend as they drove the car home. He knew that he had more than enough money to buy the Slugger McGraw baseball. Mrs. Slippers had said that it would cost $200. It made him very happy to think of owning such a wonderful ball. But Fribble wanted to make the rest of his family just as happy as he was over his good luck. Who would have guessed that his silver key would unlock such a good fortune? Fribble fingered the key on the long chain around his neck as he thought about a plan. "Dad," Fribble said, "would you drop me off at Mrs. Slipper's antique shop on our way home?" "Of course," his dad said. "I thought you might want to go there." "Are you going to Auntie Q's? Can I go too?" asked Scamper. "Not this time," said Fribble. Then, looking at his brother's sad face, he quickly added, "I'm not going to tea, Scamper. I have to talk business with Mrs. Slippers, but we'll go again soon to visit, I promise." At the antique shop, Fribble hopped out and he quickly shut the car door in order to avoid an argument from Scamper. As the car drove away, Fribble went up to the shop and he rang the funny old bell. Bring! He heard it sounding through the shop, and in just a moment Mrs. Slippers opened the door. Today she was wearing a blue dress with yellow roses on it, and Fribble noticed that she was wearing blue slippers with yellow ribbons to match. "Why, hello, Fribble," Mrs. Slippers said, and she looked about. "Where is Scamper today?" "He's at home," Fribble explained, "because I'm here on business today." "Well, I see. Come on in." Fribble walked over to the desk where Mrs. Slippers kept her cash register. He showed her his check from the Bridge Street Stamp and Coin Shop. Mrs. Slippers gasped. "Oh, Fribble, you must have sold your buffalo balloon stamp." "Only one of them," Fribble explained. "It's a lot of money, isn't it?" "Yes, indeed," Mrs. Slippers agreed. "And I have a plan for it," Fribble went on. "I want to buy a present for everyone in my family. I know Scamper would like to have that little rocking chair that he tried out on the first day that we came to your shop. And my mom loved the china set with the tiny violets. And my father would be so proud to carry around that 100-year-old pocket watch that belonged to Colonel Beauregard Chapman. And of course, I want to buy the Slugger McGraw home run ball. Do I have enough money to do all of that?" "Well, gracious me. Let's see," said Mrs. Slippers. She took the spectacles that were dangling on the ribbon around her neck and she perched them on the end of her nose. Then she took out a piece of paper and she began writing down some numbers. "The baseball is $200. The gold watch is $250. The rocking chair is $100. And that china set is $350. She added up the numbers. "That comes to $900, she said. "You certainly have enough, with some left over." "Great," said Fribble. "And I want to buy something for Grandma and Grandpa too. After all, they gave me the treasure chest." "What do you have in mind?" asked Mrs. Slippers. "On my birthday, my dad took a family picture of us all. He had an enlargement made to give to them when we go back on our next trip. I thought maybe I could get a fancy frame for the picture." Mrs. Slippers led the way to the back of the shop where there were paintings and frames. "Here's a beautiful crystal frame. It will hold an 8x10 photo," she said. "Do you like it?" "Yes," Fribble said. "It glitters in the light. It's perfect. And I'll still have some money left over to put into my bank account." Mrs. Slippers did some more figuring. "You'll have $500 left to put in the bank," she said. "Now, do your parents know that you're doing this?" she asked. Well, my father knows I'm here, Fribble said. He drove me. Still, I think I better phone home and make sure that it's all right with them for you to spend so much money, she said. Fribble's whiskers drooped. But I wanted it to be a surprise. I tell you what, she suggested. I'll call and I'll say that you want to buy something, but I won't mention what it is, okay? Sure, said Fribble. Just don't give away the surprise, please. As Mrs. Slippers called and thanked and talked to Fribble's father, Fribble stood nearby, his tail zigzagged back and forth through the air. Finally, Mrs. Slippers hung up and she smiled at him. Your father says that since the chest was your birthday gift and you solved the mystery all by yourself, the money is yours to spend any way you want. Fribble let out a sigh of relief. We'll pack up all the things that you want, and I'll drive you home in my van, Mrs. Slippers offered. You can surprise everybody all at once. All right? Yes, Fribble agreed. He bounced up and down in excitement as he watched Mrs. Slippers pack up everything. The ball, the chair, the watch, and the picture frame were easy, but it took a long time to pack up the china dishes so that they wouldn't break. Each piece was wrapped in soft tissue paper before going into a big box. Fribble helped her carry everything out to the van and store it in the back. Then they made a short trip to Fribble's house. Mrs. Slippers suggested that they'd leave everything in the van for the moment. Fribble brought her inside to Scamper's great joy and his parents' surprise. Auntie Q, Scamper said, running to give her a big hug. Well, hello, Scamper, she said. Then Mrs. Slippers told Fribble's parents that she had some surprises out in the van. Everyone trooped out to the van, and they helped carry things inside. Fribble giggled as he saw from their faces that they had figured out that there were presents for everyone. Scamper immediately tore off the wrappings and sat in the little rocking chair and beamed. He rocked back and forth, his eyes squeezed shut, and the look of bliss on his face. Fribble proudly puffed out his little chest as he handed a small package to his father. Then he gleefully watched the look of astonishment that came over his father's face as he held the gold watch in his paws. Fribble's mother sat at the dining table holding one delicate teacup and saucer with a small tear in her eye. Finally, Fribble's father put the family photo in the frame. Grandma and Grandpa will love it, Fribble said, as everybody admired how great they all looked smiling from out of the sparkling frame. Mrs. Slippers left with an invitation to come back to tea next Sunday when Fribble's mother planned to use her new dishes for the first time. Fribble raced up the stairs to his room carrying the black marble stand and the Slugger McGraw home run ball. He cleared a space on top of his dresser and he set the stand right next to his brand new stamp collecting book. Then he put the ball in its place, being sure that the two signatures faced out to the room. Fribble sat quietly on his wooden chest, gazing at all his treasures. His dream had come true, and everyone else in Fribble's family was happy too. And it was all thanks to Fleet Milton, the Munster postmaster, who had hidden those buffalo balloon stamps in a secret place locked safely away by the silver key. And on the very last page, we have a picture of Fribble and his family with all of their treasures that Fribble was able to buy at Mrs. Slippers' antique shop. Thanks for joining me on the journey with Fribble and this wonderful book.